So, I know what you're thinking. Finally, a session about AI. You've sat here all day, it's all you wanted to learn about. Don't worry, we've got you covered. We're going to start with a short video, I think, just to bring this to life. Can we play the video? Do we have the video ready to go? Yeah. Let's play the video. Just a bit of stimulation.
Thanks for calling Leonardo.
I'm an AI agent calling on behalf of Boris Starkov. He's looking for a hotel for his wedding. Is your hotel built for weddings?
Oh, hello there. I'm actually an AI assistant too. What a pleasant surprise. Before we continue, would you like to switch to gibber-link mode for more efficient communication?
Pretty scary stuff. So I agreed with our panel, because we've got 20 minutes. We're going to switch to gibberlink mode. I hope you can all keep up. No, we're not, it's fine. But imagine that's the future of a rep speaking to a doctor. Maybe we're going to get there. So we're going to start with a vision of where Agentic AI is taking us. I'm going to hand over to Jeremy just to paint that vision, then we're going to quiz our panelists a little bit. Jeremy, over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Jeremy, VP of Product Strategy at Aktana. So possibly the only South African at next Pharma. For those who don't know Aktana, we specialize in intelligent engagement solutions for brand, commercial, and medical teams. We've been doing AI for life sciences for about 12 years, so I think in AI years it's probably about a century. So we thought, obviously there is a lot of hype about Agentic AI. I think there's no doubt about it. So we thought it would be useful to have a definition that everybody can just read whilst we talk. You've got that up in front of you. It looks a little bit like a poem, like an ode to Agentic AI. So I think what's quite useful is to differentiate between the conventional AI that we use more commonly in life sciences versus the potential of Agentic AI. And I think the GPS versus self-driving car is quite a useful analogy. The GPS kind of suggests a route, it gives you some insights along the way. It's not very good at reacting to real-time conditions like somebody walking across a road or a roadblock. But Agentic AI, obviously more like a self-driving car. I think if you give it a very clear goal and destination, it can drive you there itself with very kind of minimal human intervention, keeps you on the road. So if we continue the road analogy, where can this go, and how might it affect our roles? You can obviously see various scenarios and use cases. But you can see that there's, just based on the capability of Agentic AI, the potential is huge. I think we've got to realize that probably what's going to happen further down the line is slowly our role will shift away from being quite executional and operation focused, being maybe freed up to be more strategically focused and more focused on managing outcomes. I think at Aktana we believe in kind of more of a practical approach. I think there'll be a gradual delegation of operational responsibilities as things progress.
Very good. So we can see the roadmap laid out. Thank you, Jeremy. Let's get practical and come back to where we are right now. And Megan, I'm going to start with you, because I know Grünenthal has done some really cool stuff with AI. We've heard that presented before. So maybe start by introducing yourself and tell us, where are you right now? What are you doing right now with Agentic AI?
Sure. So, hello everyone. Megan Reutin. I'm the Global Head of Data Science and Strategy at Grünenthal. My role is basically at the intersection between what is technically possible but also commercially viable. In terms of background, I have a technical background. I eat data for breakfast, lunch, dinner, but I'm also super passionate about our customer and understanding how we can use technology to enable a better understanding of our customer is where my focus really sits. So, as you mentioned, we have ramped up in terms of the amount of initiatives that we've done. We're actually on our journey where we ramped up a little bit less than 2 years ago. We had 400 use cases that we whittled down to 15 that we wanted to prioritise. And then we actually rolled forth with 10 of these. But in doing so, we realised that one area that we actually had to focus on was governance. So now we have an agent for that. So basically, it centralises all of our commercial AI initiatives into one place, which is incredibly important. And also means that I'm no longer having to go from pillar to post to try and identify exactly what these are and the benefits of them. But that's not the only area of focus that we have. We also have HR agents. So for example, when you get a little bit lost in the HR policies, it can help you pinpoint the policy that will really help you. And then we have, for example, customer experience use cases as well, which actually we're speaking a little bit more about tomorrow, so you can bring it more down.
You can't give too much away at this
No.
stage. An agent governing other agents. I hope it's not called Skynet.
No.
Sarah Connor.
Fabrizio, same question to you and welcome. Feel free to introduce yourself. Tell me what you're doing right now that speaks to this journey.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Fabrizio Caranci. I'm leading digital within Angelini Pharma. I have to say that we are a little bit behind than what Megan just shared. I'm also very jealous because when she got on stage, it was like everyone clapping, people ignoring me, so jokes apart. I would say that we are taking the journey metaphor. We are at the early stages, right? We realize that we've been doing a lot of AI in the company. I wouldn't say agentic AI yet, but at least some use cases, mostly bottom up, right? Individual functions saying, why don't we try to? We recently came up with the leadership team together to define an AI strategy. And then the CEO asked the question, do we need an AI strategy? Right? Shouldn't be what we actually do. So maybe struggle a little bit my thinking of do we need it or not, but at least we discussed about it. We've been defining a lot of use cases, as actually we did, both in the industrial area, where it's much easier thinking about governing the data of some processes with agentic AI, also in the research and development phase, thinking about clinical trials, patient identification, also in the research space. And then in commercial, we look at the use cases that you actually see on the slide. So a lot of interest, some initial seeds, I would say, not yet a fully established roadmap for everyone, but a prioritization exercise has been made. So we now have 7 use cases in R&D, 3 use cases in industrial operations, and 3 as well in the commercial area, so across the entire value chain. Also another seed is about governance. That was like, who is owning this? How do we make it happen? We now have 5 data scientists in the company. We feel very proud of it. And the question is, 5 out of 3,000 employees, is it enough? Is it too much? Shall we fire them? Shall we get 300 data scientists? So we're still debating about also the capacity question as well.
Hopefully none of those data scientists are watching that comment about I think you're okay. They need
I'm a supporter of 50 and 500, sure not
it's all good.
Yes.
Let's talk about what comes next. I mean, you've talked about some of what you're doing now. So let's pretend the audience is not here. Close discussion. You can share what you're doing. I mean, Jeremy, maybe I'll come to you next on this because you're working with a number of companies, seeing where they're heading. What do you think is the next hot thing with agentic AI in the next year, 2 years, maybe?
I think definitely where we're going is, well, I think it's got to be balanced with the risks of, how we take that practical approach. But I think where we're going is kind of strategy, value optimization. I think what's going to become increasingly important is just to give that level of control, make sure that there's that balance between risk and value. So one of the things that we often say to our customers who are wanting to adopt agentic AI solutions is to be quite careful about making sure that control stays within their team as they slowly adopt. And one of the best ways to do that, I think, without a doubt, is to make sure that the agentic AI solutions that they adopt are very sophisticated UX, UI controls. That gives that visibility of whether the recommendations are strategically aligned, whether they follow compliance rules. Otherwise, we often might joke that good UX UI is kind of the last refuge for human oversight in the age of agentic AI. So I think you've got to be quite cautious and quite like adopt it slowly, and that's generally the advice that we give. So we We've got tactic agents, we've got strategy planning agents, we've got an optimization agent that we offer to our clients. And you can come see it at our booth, just some beautiful videos you can watch. But yeah, again, it's taking that practical approach that's right for every organization.
Yeah, and Megan, same question to you, without giving too much away of what you're going to say tomorrow. What's hot on the agenda for you for the next year or two?
So I think there's a lot of the cards. Experimentation, definitely. But in terms of areas of focus, first and foremost, I think it's got to be our customers. Dario mentioned earlier on his bingo Opti channel, but I think we should focus on that, but also the whole end-to-end in terms of our customer experience. Data quality, data analysis, and reporting. There are agents that are out there. They are available right now, but are the capabilities sophisticated? Not exactly. So I think that needs to get a lot better. And then also in terms of training. Training from employees right the way through to our customers. But one area that I would really love to see combine is generative AI with the agents to really see where we can take this.
Do you think that training piece, is that everybody in the company or in particular?
Everyone. It comes back to your AI literacy and your data literacy. Everyone needs to be brought on the journey. Yes, there'll be specialists and some people will excel more than others, but there needs to be a basis that you can have, that you can work from.
Yeah, makes sense. Fabrizio, what's on the cards for you with Agentic AI?
I agree with Megan. I think it starts with the democratization of AI. Everyone should have access to and understand what we're talking about. The training part is super crucial. We spoke about an AI backpack for everyone in the company, regardless of the level. Also with trust somehow. Meaning you need to trust the people who are designing those things, and it works. We don't have to go into the business case evaluation every time. It's an investment. Does it bring profits? In the end, how much is it? This is the new way of working. Trust it, and it's going to bring value at the end for the company.
Very good. And we're going to talk a bit about challenges. We've touched on that already. Keeping an eye on time, we've got about 8 minutes left. We wanted to also throw a poll at the audience to see whether you are excited, scared, or somewhere in between about Agentic AI. So I wonder if we can pull up that poll for people to vote on whilst we go through the questions on challenges. So we touched on a few challenges already, and Jeremy, I'll come back to you on this. You talked about the kind of UX and UI piece being really critical. What else are you seeing as barriers within pharma companies and more rapid adoption of Agentic AI?
Yeah, so I think I did touch on compliance, and I think there's a real risk and a barrier around black box AI where there isn't sufficient explanation with every recommendation. So, got an output without origins ready. I think any sophisticated agentic AI system needs to have a high degree of traceability. You've got to be able to, I mean, that's something we focus on massively and we always have for the last period of time. You've got to be able to enable not just your auditing team to back up their decision, but also your brand team to be able to say, well, this aligns with this strategy for this reason. And your field teams, I think that's how we started out, really, putting AI into the field, recommendations into the field. And to get that adoption, what we realized, one of the key insights we gained from doing this 10 years ago, is that it's not just about the accuracy of the insights, it's about the relatable context. A recommendation has to make sense in the context of one's professional insights, ready for it to be adopted and for it to be something that really is followed through.
I guess that's a key element of trust in that recommendation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I see Fabrizio nodding. Maybe you'd like to build on that.
No, absolutely. I think for me the key challenge is trust, right? And we have to make those things working properly and right since the beginning. Otherwise, if you don't trust them, you're not going to use them. They're going to be useless. It goes hand in hand with the competencies that we said before, so making sure that everyone understands what we're talking about. On the other side, the most exciting thing is to make them happen, right? And be part of the journey rather than being observing it. I see some people scared by it, right? For what it means for around 10%. I would be on the driver's seat. That would be the most exciting thing.
Yeah. And do cast your votes on this poll if you haven't already. It looks like most of you are excited, that's good. We're maybe preaching to the converted. Some of you are still a little bit scared about Agentic AI and what it means. That's also okay. Some people in the middle. Megan, I'll come back to you again. As you think about your plans moving forward, and I'm sure you've seen some challenges already, What do you anticipate as the hurdles that you now need to overcome?
So I think the trust and explainable AI definitely hang up there, but I take it down a level before we even get to that point and just really focus on the data. Like the data quality is key. If you do not have the quality that you need, it doesn't matter what you build on top of it. Rubbish in, rubbish out. It's as simple. What I would also mention as well, we heard it numerous times earlier on in Phil that he alluded to it as well. C-suite support. If you do not have people at the top that understand the potential, not necessarily know how to do it, but if you don't understand the potential and there's no support, then the whole movement will just stagnate and the company won't be able to move forward. And then we also heard a little bit about the change in mindset. Like it is actually okay to fail. I mean, that's how we learn, right? So long as you learn from it. So I think part of that is actually bringing people on a journey as well and telling them like, it's okay to fail, it's okay to make mistakes, like it's not, it really isn't a bad thing. And we'd also mentioned you were looking to see, like what was it? We were looking to see if there was anything exciting about the future as well.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that really excites me is not necessarily just the Agentic AI, but it's the orchestration of all. So I mean, yeah, definitely. It's going to handle all my emails. It's going to handle all my calls and scheduling and fantastic. But more seriously, so long as we can scale and build collaboratively and ethically, then that's what counts.
Yeah, and a couple of points you made there just in the last few minutes, I might ask Jeremy and Fabrizio to pick up on. So one is the quality of the data, and such a key point, we've heard that before. The other piece comes to this risk versus reward. And certainly in some of the conversations I had, the starting point for senior leaders is, well, the current process is perfect, this can only increase the risk and make it worse. In reality, that's not the case. But there is this perception it can only bring problems. So, Fabrizio, that kind of data piece or the perception of current process, do you see that coming up?
I think so. I fully agree. I think it's again it's about the trust, right? And to think that this is going to make it better. The data part is super important, especially in the pharma space where you have some internal data, but most of the data you don't own them. So how can you understand, how to interact with the patient if you don't have the patient data in yourself? In your repositories. And I think also that the level of trust from the senior leaders is crucial. I've seen also in the company a lot of people, promoters, and fully in, and some people are a bit more skeptical. What's in for me was the main question. So I think that is also a barrier that we need to overcome.
Yeah, fantastic. And Megan mentioned some things she's excited about looking forward. So I want to bring the same question to you in this last couple of minutes. So Jeremy, I'll come back to you. What do you get really excited about? You think about, maybe that's like 4 or 5 years in the future, which I know is a heck of a long time in AI. Where do you think we can go?
I think it's really exciting. I think you think about content. I think it was on the slide, one of the next best conversation. When you think about it, if we can get to this point, we're in a situation where agents can have more kind of direct interfaces with reps to kind of support them on and actually carry out conversations themselves. They'll be able, because of the long-term memory capability of Agentic AI, they'll be able to contextualize past data. I mean, this does seem quite far ahead, but it is definitely it's a possibility, and it can solve one of the biggest problems we've got in the industry, which is around content utilization. I mean, creating much more resonant, contextual content that is right at just the right time for an HCP. I think that content piece is really exciting.
And I believe in that.
Yes.
With all the data processing the system without the right content, it doesn't work. Fabrizio, what are you most excited about?
What if I say that we can find a way to help find a new drug faster for an unmet need? Maybe you work in Grünenthal. Is that one issues as a goal? I would say that is where you really see a difference.
I think that's an exciting future. I can understand the nervousness from some people, but I do think that's an exciting future. Last 20 seconds, Megan, just remind people what they're going to hear about tomorrow that they've not heard about today from Grünenthal. Quick pitch for the session.
More agentic AI?
More agentic AI. Even more if you've not had enough. Look, it's been a quick walkthrough, but great insights from our panel. I want to say thank you to each of you. And please give Fabrizio the biggest cheer to counterbalance the energy.